vehicle carrying suicide bombers intent on carrying out an attack on the airport. That is what we know so far. Interestingly, there has been no comment from the Taliban, and they were very keen to comment on the back of the first drone strike we saw yesterday, which the US military says was this drone strike this afternoon. So things are still unclear. What's important to recognise, though, is that this evacuation operation after 2 weeks is winding down very, very dramatically. We've heard very few planes taking off this afternoon from the airport. We know that there are still many people, we understand, who wanted to get on planes and leave Afghanistan. We spoke to a group of people on buses this morning that were intent on getting there, that said that they had all the requisite papers, either a passport, some sort of official documentation, or a visa, official invitation or a visa. They tried to get into the airport, but were turned back, we understand, by Taliban security.
So I'm now joined by Kamran Bukhari, the Director of Analytical Development at the New Lines Institute for Strategy and Policy, joins us from Virginia. So the United States retains the ability to carry out drone strikes in Afghanistan after this troop withdrawal, as it does in other countries. The Secretary of State was emphasizing that point today, but to what extent has the withdrawal complicated their ability to identify a strong resurgence of ISIL-K in parts of Afghanistan, particularly when they might not have the benefit of intelligence gathering that comes from that physical presence?
Yes, that does become a challenge, especially as the state that, or the government, the ruling authority in Kabul has collapsed. The United States was relying on that as a partner, both in Kabul and in the various regions throughout the country. I mean, security partners, whether it was the National Directorate of Security, the Intelligence Service, or Afghan National Defense Security Forces, or other allied partners that are regional militias and whatnot that are allied against the Taliban. Now, that with that not being there, according to the U.S. deal with the Taliban, that entire deal was about the Taliban making sure that their country will not be used by transnational jihadists to launch attacks against other countries. So now that's, in theory, that works, if you just listen to the Taliban, but in reality it doesn't, because A, the Taliban do not have an incentive to go after people on behalf of the United States. They lose credibility, as I argued in my piece for the Wall Street Journal. Second, that creates a dependency on the part of the United States on the Taliban to share intelligence. And the question is, how reliable is that intelligence? And so, yes, there are many United States is trying to sort through as we speak.
Isn't that precisely what's happening now, though? The Americans are already relying on the Taliban to keep American lives safe. Just during the process meeting, the CIA director was reported to have been in Kabul.
Absolutely. That meeting was very critical. It comes at a risk to directors. It sort of paints him as an United States. You can't tell soldiers the tens of thousands, and number is actually exceeded and who fought for the insurgency. You can't tell that we were fighting with the United States and now all of a sudden we're allies. And so it's the warping of their ideology. And so this is a real conundrum for the Taliban to do this. And then, of course, if the Taliban coherence, in addition to their which are good on inside immigrations. So I think this is going to be.
How is the Taliban going to manage ISIL-K with the commitment you mentioned there that it made to the U.S. in that deal to secure the withdrawal of American troops that would prevent Afghanistan being used as a base for groups like ISIL-K to operate freely? How are they going to balance that, those two factors?
That's a great question, Mariam. So here's the issue. I think that there will be those actors that the Taliban hated, and if the United States is doing it for them, then that works fine for them. It just depends upon how badly they want those eliminated. Are these high-value targets? Do they weaken ISIS-K? And where they are. I mean, there are a lot of foreign fighters who can't be easily distinguished. Are they Taliban? Are they ISIS-K? Are they Haqqani? Are they AQ? Are they other jihadists from other countries in Central Asia and the Russian Federation, Uyghurs, for example. So this is going to become a complicated battle space. It already is in many ways, and therefore the Taliban cannot be trusted to sort of be ready to provide intelligence when the United States needs it. If the United States sees something going on electronically, then I don't think that we're going to have to rely on the Taliban, say, to play ball. And I don't think they'll play ball because they can't go too far in this direction. So they'll probably be behaving like the Pakistani state has over the years, where drone strikes were, facilitated from Pakistani soil, and there was sort of like, okay, plausible deniability that, there was the argument that, oh, our sovereignty is being violated, but yet there was cooperation at the intelligence and military level. I think we're going to have that kind of a gray area in which the Taliban are going to operate. But look, this is a very terrible situation to be in.
Thank you, Kamran Bukhari, for joining us there from Virginia. Well, as American forces draw down, the Taliban is taking control of more areas in and around Kabul airport. U.S. military aircraft continue to land as the final evacuations take place just meters from Taliban fighters. Charlotte Bellis reports now from Kabul airport.
The Taliban has taken over. Their fighters drive US-made Humvees laden with US-made weapons around the last US military installation in Afghanistan. They look and act like former Afghan government soldiers. The white flag, the only indication this is the Taliban. It has been 20 years since the Taliban controlled Kabul airport. Fighters entered the capital 2 weeks ago and quickly encircled it. The armed group had an agreement with the US that it would remain outside and secure the perimeter until evacuations came to an end. Now, with only 2 days to go,